Hello, everyone. I'm truly excited to be here in Zeros. I'm very sleep deprived, so congratulations to the organization and, of course, the facilitators of this conference. So I'm an assistant professor at the University of the Aegean, at the Department of Cultural Technology and Communication. Um, so today I'll be sharing with you part of an ongoing research conducted with our research team members, Mikaela, Simitzi, and Alexandra Malouta. Our study looks at asymmetrical interaction design in XR that can encourage actually collaboration and dialogue between people that experience culture, taking inspiration from historical exhibition practices and paradigms of the art world. Just a small tweak. Thank you. So this study builds on previous work in social interaction with the aim of rethinking how it is that we design digital. Hello, everyone. I'm truly excited to be here in Zeros. I'm very sleep deprived, so congratulations to the organization and, of course, the facilitators of this conference. So I'm an assistant professor at the University of the Aegean, at the Department of Cultural Technology and Communication. So today I'll be sharing with you part of an ongoing research conducted with our research team members, Mikaela, Simitzi, and Alexandra Malouta. Our study looks at asymmetrical interaction design in XR that can encourage actually collaboration and dialogue between people that experience culture, taking inspiration from historical exhibition practices and paradigms of the art world. Just a small tweak. Thank you. So this study builds on previous work in social interaction with the aim of rethinking how it is that we design digitally mediated cultural experiences. So more specifically, we are interested in how to design for collaboration and dialogue rather than pure individual immersion. And I have the pleasure to have in the audience and here in Sirius a few colleagues that we've been researching this topic for many years. So cultural exhibitions have always aimed to tell engaging stories and create immersive experiences. Yet the challenge of designing for shared experiences and interactions within groups in XR persists. So the central question becomes, how can we best design immersive cultural experiences that encourage playful discovery and dialogue among visitors? We are also experimenting with collaborative platforms. You may also be experimenting, such as via chat. These collaborative environments raise different challenges of their own, but I won't go into that today. So our inspiration for this project comes from the historical paradigm cabinets of curiosities, those eclectic collections of rare and unusual objects in the early modern period from the 16th century onwards. Unlike modern exhibitions, which are often organized by category or theme, these collections had no formal structure. Items were displayed without predefined explanations or labels, inviting viewers to engage with the objects on their own terms. This lack of categorization fostered a sense of curiosity and wonder, encouraging social interaction, discussions, and even debates among guests as they explore the collection together. We also draw from their contemporary artistic adaptations where unstructured displays encourage personal interpretation, contrary to museum orderly signage. We also draw, So from such examples, we drew the insight that what truly triggers interaction among participants is not only the absence of predefined information or the interactive affordances of the exhibit, but also the uneven knowledge each visitor brings from their own experiences. This is something this is something we know also from museum studies, such as the participatory museum, as well as other formal learning studies, but rarely we see them adopted in VR culture scenarios. In fact, we see quite the opposite. So, a representation of the actual museums into the VR environment. And this is precisely when the concept of asymmetry comes into play. So asymmetry then becomes a central concept. In our case, it takes two forms. Technological asymmetry, one, for instance, in our case, one participant has the VR headset while the other relies on the projection display. And the other is information asymmetry. One participant may have more cues or less, depending on the environment he operates or their own cognitive baggage. So from this, we formulated our hypothesis that combining technological and informational symmetry in XR can create more space for collaboration, dialogue, and co-construction of meaning. And the objectives is to create a collocated asymmetric XR social experience and to conduct a comparative evaluation study and assess our research hypothesis. So let's see what the experience looks like in practice. We used a case study of iconic technologies from the 1980s, now mostly forgotten by new generations. And at the beginning of the experience, okay, thank you very much. So let me start the video again. So at the beginning of the experience, hello? Okay. So at the beginning of the experience, I think it happened to you. Sorry for that. The experience is not very nice for you. I'm microphoning. Okay, so you see at the beginning of the experience, users step into a large virtual room designed like a minimal museum entrance with a single installation. And here they first encounter a poster. You've already seen that. They actually get instructions on how to use the application and the interaction controls. Once they open, yep, I have to start experience. Hello. Yeah. Right. So it's developed in Unity and. Let me try again. Um, so we designed two versions. Ένα, δύο.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Angeliki, and congratulations for your work. And I really like your approach because actually, when we visit a museum, it's not a personal experience. Usually, we are with our friends, with groups, and so on. So it's important that this experience is kind of shared. And my question is whether you are considering for the future to give a more critical role to the second observer, like the one observing the projection, which might be one or more persons, maybe. But I'm wondering whether, for example, if the VR user moves quite rapidly to look around, maybe the spatial awareness and understanding of the people looking at the projection is not so good. So probably one way of doing this could be, if you have considered that, to have the standing people maybe operate somehow, so have a different view of the environment. So these two different experiences are viewed through avatars. So you have two or more avatars in the same space and maybe be able to point at something so that they could discuss collocated over what they're looking, but each one from their own view, so that maybe the standing people have a more I don't know, a more holistic maybe view of the 3D environment.
Thank you, Spiros, for your comment. Actually, we've had also this discussion yesterday. Thank you for bringing this up. It's definitely one of the limitations of our approach. We didn't have any reporting that actually touched on this subject. So maybe it was the small sample. Again, many people might need a little bit left out, but we didn't get this results. But I like the approach in terms of giving more agency to the second user, and this is definitely something we will try to experiment with, especially in trying different cultural scenarios. As I said, we are trying to do something that has to do, as a case study, Minoan rituals. I know I speak to a different crowd here, but understanding the past is a very difficult task in its own right. So doing that with technology, it definitely takes giving more agency to both users. So thank you for this, and definitely we are going to address it if possible. Thank you.
And the initial research hypothesis that we build our own story when we interact with a non-structured and non-existent narrative, but it was more a display of objects here that one could experiment with. And for instance, for my generation, there was it has sweet memories of when we were young and we were using these devices. So as you said, this is an opportunity through VR to experiment and live probably our parents' generation way of living, doing an interpretation which is very personal, by the way, and is not going to be the same across generations. An older person will interpret this differently than a young one. I have some, I couldn't quite understand the setup, because inherently VR is not collaborative. It's more personal experience. You live in a virtual world, and the fact that you were discussing with a second person the experience, was it through a projector that they could see? So it was acting with the artifacts was only one of the two.
Yes.
And the other one was just interpreting or discussing the experience, right?
And giving ideas, maybe you do this, and there were certain computers, the old ones that switched from the back. So maybe the second participant had another idea. Oh, try this or try that.
So was it imposing?
They were collocated, of course.
What was the role of the second one? It wasn't symmetrical. It was one of them was acting,
asymmetrical,
and the other one was doing what? Suggesting action. What was the dynamics of the collaboration?
Thank you for the question. I tried to push my research students to go for actually, and I still plan to do this, to give the person that doesn't wear the VR, to assign this role only to people that are a bit older and we know they have the information, to create the asymmetry of a knowledge base. So the person who wears it is younger, may have not experimented with these devices. So that creates definitely, it didn't actually happen as planned, but that was a result as well, because we did get the result that it worked more than the structured. Of course, in both cases, this asymmetry, one operates and the other tries to be a guide for the other one. So we have, it's very preliminary. We cannot say anything definite, but we have a hunch that we can go like that in the next experiments, if that answers your question.
Thank you, Angeliki. Actually, all co-ops, local co-ops, are asymmetrical. People doesn't bring the same skills. Like very rarely they have the same skill. So I'm really connected with the fact that somebody takes the role of moving the place and some other just sitting in the couch back and just comment. This is what happened in all local co-op. From the original idea of the Curiosities from the 16th century, is there something that was lost during the process?
Contemporary museology. Contemporary museology happened. And so sometimes we are locked into certain ideas about how museums should look. And it's hard, not from a research point of view, because museological theory is very, very ahead of these concepts. They are aware. We have the participatory museum, we have other museological theories, but in practice, we see the museum setup is adding a lot of information to the visitors and neglect other sorts of aspects of the visit, such as the social interaction. I don't know if I answer your question, but this is what we try to understand, like less information. And also the problem is that people in VR are repeating these things that we already know from theory, that they don't work in such cultural environments. Okay. Don't fight. We can talk over coffee.
Yes, we can talk over coffee. It's the idea of of a game called the Bomb Explosion.
Yeah, that was
the same. It's awesome. It's awesome.
That was actually it's actually in the paper. It's
Yes.
one of the influences,
Yeah.
also for the design. Yeah.
So to let the other knows is the one that's in the VR and try to deactivate the bomb, and the other is on the real world, try to give instructions.
That was one example.
The
My
problem is
student
always with the curatorial and historical information and the educational content, that you have to be in this context. And
not necessarily.
Okay.
Like I mean, for this experiment, you had you had a small narrative at the end of its task that informed you, what was it and what was like.
Okay, so the
So
next
you can
challenge
add
is-
some narrative as a reward. It can happen better after the social interaction, the exploration.
So the next challenge is to give more control and immersion to the observer.
Yeah, and try actually cultural scenarios that are more complicated, and they are about things that we really don't know about. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.